I'd like to show you how to work flat or Japanese 3-needle bind off without having to divide stitches onto separate needles. You may be wondering, when would I ever do that? After all, isn't the point of 3-needle bind off to join two pieces of fabric together? It typically is, but you can also use 3-needle bind off to finish off a reversible fabric, such as reversible lace, or 1x1 ribbing, or double knitting. It produces an edge that's nicely structured and very clean. So let's see how to do that. I have here some 1x1 ribbing. What I want to do is reduce each knit purl pair down to a single stitch, and then after I do that, I want to bind those stitches off. And here's what that looks like. I start by slipping that first knit stitch, and I slip it knitwise with yarn and back. So I just act like I'm going to knit it, and then I don't. This does change the stitch facing. Now I purl the next stitch, so I bring the yarn forward and purl, and then I'll take the yarn to the back. And now I pass the slip stitch over the purled stitch. So I have reduced that pair from 2 stitches to 1. At this point, I would really like to bind that stitch off, but I only have 1 stitch on the right needle, so I need to do that whole maneuver again. So once again, it's slip knitwise in yarn with yarn and back, purl the purl stitch, pass the slip stitch over, and then I have 2 stitches now, so I can pass one over the other. And let me change hands and show you what that looks like for a continental knitter. Slip the first stitch, the knit stitch, knitwise, purl the purl stitch, pass the slipped stitch over, and then you have 2 stitches on the right needle. You can bind off 1 stitch over the other. It is very easy to work this bind off too tightly, so I recommend going up 1 or maybe 2 needle sizes from what you used to make the fabric. Make the bind off loose to begin with, and then come back and adjust it to match the tension of your fabric. So there you are. That is how to work flat or Japanese 3-needle bind off on a reversible fabric, and how to do it without having to hunt up extra needles and divide stitches.